Hi guys and welcome back. In this short video, we're going to be adding shortcuts to our menus. Let's begin by going into the add commands down here and add an accelerator. This is some text that will be shown beside the menu bar as if it were a shortcut. So we will say CTRL plus N. For new, the accelerator for open is CTRL plus O, and the accelerator for save is CTRL plus S. Now, a couple of things is that in Mac, this should be command instead of control, but that's a slightly more complicated problem to make it differ between platforms. So for now, we're going to stick to control only. Now, if we run this app, you will see that something a little bit weird happens. When we press Control S, the menu lights up as if to tell us, hey, you're using a shortcut for something here. But it doesn't actually do anything unless you click the menu and then press Ctrl S. This may not happen in other platforms, but in Mac, this is how the accelerator behaves. So what you want to make sure is that you have shortcuts also set for when you don't have the menu clicked. And the way to do that is anywhere really down here. You can say root.bind. And now we're going to bind some sequence of key presses to the root, which is our main Tkinter window. And what that means is that as long as that window is the one that's selected, these shortcuts will take effect. So the first one is going to be Control-N. And it's really important to surround your shortcut with these crocodile clips and to spell the modifier keys correctly. So Control has a capital C. The dash means that this is an extra key press that you have to type, N, which is the lowercase n. So again, Control N is what we're going to be typing for this shortcut. And then we are going to do lambda event is create file. Now, important that we do lambda event and then pass in the create file executing. That's because whenever you bind a shortcut, the second argument to bind is a function that must have the signature of, something like this, def event function, which takes in an event and then does things. That is because you could use the event that has been generated inside the function. In this case, we don't want to use the event, so what we do is we create a lambda function that takes in the event as an argument and then doesn't use it, and all it does is it calls the create file function. Remember that here we are defining a lambda function. We are not executing the create file function. Executing this function only happens when the lambda function itself gets executed, which will only happen when Control N is pressed. Okay. Next up, we're going to do root.bind, and now we're going to do Control O, and once again, lambda event, open file, and finally, root.bind. Control S. Make sure to include your crocodile clips, by the way, and lambda event save file. All right, now we can run this app here, and pressing Control S does indeed execute this bound sequence. This is how you can add shortcuts to a particular component. In this case, we're adding them to the root of our application, the main window, and how you can use accelerators in your menus. Remember that depending on which widget is selected at the time that you press these keys, you can execute different functions. In this case, we are binding Control N to the root, which means that it will always run no matter which element we've got selected. But if you were to bind Control N, say, to the text field, this text area here, then the shortcut would only run if you have the text area selected, which may not happen at all times. So this is how you can add shortcuts to different parts of your application if you want. Thanks for joining me in this video. I hope you've learned something, and I'll see you in the next one.